Welcome back into another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. And today, I think we're just going to do a mailbag. Not I think we are just going to do a mailbag. We've covered a lot of topics this week. We went over week 5. We went over, oh geez, we did a whole quarterback level set yesterday's episode, which was a really good episode. So today, we're just going to take some mailbag questions. Again, we crowdsourced these mailbag questions from my Discord channel. I will continue to plug that if you would like access to that Discord channel. All it takes is a free subscription to the Substack, and in that welcome email will be a link to join. Again, just no charge is required there. Just a little free sub. So let's just do this, James. You ready to dive into these things? We've got 7 questions here to dive through.
Let's do it.
All right. Some will take longer than others, but I don't think it'll take us overly too long here. First question here, and this is from Cam. Cam is an avid follower. He comments a ton on YouTube. He's in the Discord, obviously, as well.
Shout out to Cam.
Shout out to Cam. His question is, how do quarterbacks develop stronger arms? Is it adding weight, certain exercises, reshaping throwing motions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So I just kind of think you can't. Like, I think the exceptions are very few and far between of guys who develop stronger arms. I think Tom Brady is one of them, and that was because he completely reworked his entire upper half, like his entire mechanics. He completely.
I have a suspicion that
Okay.
Tom Brady might have reworked his entire whether or not he was taking PEDs.
Interesting.
But that's my armchair hot take.
That's the we have a tinfoil hat
and I think the same thing about LeBron James too. But until it's proven, I will always say he's the GOAT.
You just think the league lets him get away with it because they're superstars?
Well, I don't know. I just think it's like for Tom Brady, and this is kind of derailing the question, but I don't understand how you get athletically better, like from when you're 25 to when you're 42.
Yeah, when there's should have won an MVP at 42.
When there's almost like 0 other people that have done that.
Yeah.
And then LeBron James is just the longevity. It's like my mom always told me if it's too good to be true, probably is.
Shout out James's mom.
But like I say that like I'm not a LeBron hater at all, and I will be like a warrior against like we're done with the 90s LeBron over MJ, but something smells a little weird there to me.
And there is our tinfoil hat session for our week.
I do think though, but here's the thing to answer the question. I mean, can't you? I think like your throwing mechanics, plays a big role, but like maximizing your actual raw arm strength. I don't know. I mean, I think you've definitely seen. Like, I feel like Joe Burrow has a stronger arm than I thought he did in college.
Interesting. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it comes a lot down to the mechanics of throwing the football as well. Like the stop transfer of that front foot, that front shoulder. Like some guys just have really sloppy front shoulders where that thing is like swinging wide open like a gate when they're throwing the football at the college level, right? Or like their feet are really sloppy where you talk to some of these quarterback coaches or you watch what they're kind of putting out on social media and things like that. And they stress really hard that front foot needs to like that front foot, because that's your stop transfer. And then the tight front shoulder too, right? So like if you are trying to whip something really hard, you are like you always like snap it off, right? And that's how the whip kind of creates that snap effect. If you're just like waving it around, there's no power in that. There's no thrust in that. You can like even wave it as hard as you want. What causes the whip motion is that snap effect. And what causes you to, like when you're a quarterback throwing a football, what causes that is to be able to unload all of that torque, unload all of that power onto that, like from that back foot, uncoil it through that front foot. So if you don't have and front shoulder. So if you don't have a stop transfer, if your front shoulder is super loose, your feet are bad, then yeah, you're naturally not going to be able to generate as much RPM on the football as you could if you were cleaner with that front shoulder, front foot. But I think that's like genetics to get better. I think Dalton in the Discord said get better genetics. And so like, I really do think that you kind of are what you are. And there are like some things you can fine tune, but for the most part.
Who do you think, how would you rank like top 3 just pure arm strength in this quarterback class.
In this quarterback class.
Yeah. And you can include, like, guys that could potentially be 27 guys.
Lenore Sellers for sure. Josh Hoover.
Really?
I think Hoover can whip that thing, dude. And if we're just talking pure arm, I mean, Brennan Sorsby's got a cannon too. I think Sorsby's pretty sloppy, but Sorsby's got a nuke.
You don't think Aller's top 3?
Oh, Aller's definitely top 3.
Yeah.
Um,
Aller's just such an afterthought now.
yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, Aller's definitely top 3. Aller, Sellers. I mean, if we're talking guys who are eligible that aren't going to come out, probably Nico.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Probably Nico. But I don't think, obviously, Nico's not coming out. There's no shot. Scrolling through some other names. That's probably it. Functional arm talent, like functional arm strength, though. Yeah, I would say like Mendoza's in that category. Hoover's probably in that category. Sellers is still in that category. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't really see anyone else that I would say is in there.
No. Again, if Sorsby could like play consistently clean, like he was really clean against Kansas, wasn't against Nebraska. Like Sorsby, he can sling that thing, but it's probably enough on the quarterback talk there. Next question here. Let's move on to the offensive tackle class here. And I'm going to wrap 2 in 1. Cam had another one here about Isaiah World specifically. But the overarching theme here, how many offensive tackles should go in the first round of the 2026 NFL Draft? Not will go, but should go in the first round here. And let's consider CC Moino a tackle here.
Okay. So I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 3.5.
Okay.
I mean, depending, like, I would say Spencer Fano, Trevor Gooseby, CC Moanoa, and Caleb Lomu would be my 4. But I think all of them except for Moanoa are prone to go back to school. So that could shorten it. But that would be my list of 4.
Man, if Lomu, Gooseby, and Fano all went back to school, this tackle class would be bare bones.
Cheeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lomu scares me, dude. Lomu terrifies me.
I think both of the Utah, and the reason I suggest them going back to school is I think, and I texted you about this, I think both of the Utah tackles have been very average this year. Like I watched, I think across both of them, Spencer Fano against UCLA is the one like really, really good, strong performance. Outside of that, it's been either average to rough, like against Texas Tech. Watched them last week and it was fine. It's not really top half of the first round caliber tackle. There's not the same level of finishing in the run game from Spencer Fano that we saw last year. And also the scheme still kind of protects them in pass pro. But I feel like that's how it is with every college scheme nowadays.
Yeah. I do wonder about Gooseby. Like if Texas gets into SEC play and they just start rattling off losses in SEC play, like I wonder if Gooseby jumps. Like that's the thing that can make me think that Gooseby might jump.
Yeah.
Should go. I would probably say 3. Moino, Fano, Gooseby. Lomu terrifies me. But again, like will go. We always see offensive tackles.
What specifically about Lomu?
I think he oversets a ton. I think his spatial awareness is very iffy in terms of like he's on an island a ton. Like he's just wide setting.
I feel like he's
4 yards away from his left guard.
Over reliant on like his slide quickness to get back with inside move.
Yeah.
But that kind of got him in trouble against the better athletes like Texas Tech.
Yeah, I'll stick with 3 here. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Well, do you think people are going to get on our level with Chaplin at some point? Because
I think
We
so.
seem
Like,
like the
how
only
can you
people that don't like that aren't enamored with Xavier Chaplin, like, that haven't
really?
been since the summer.
That's fascinating. Like, are they
I
are they
mean,
just taking
just
the summer
just
grades
from
on him or
just from,
what?
like, consensus rankings, like, and I mean, I'm not gonna, like, just call people out, but he's consistently top 20, top 15, top 32 at minimum, like, on the consensus board heading into the year. And I'm sure it'll start to update for most people, or I assume it will, after this season. But he was a
Mhm.
potential guy. I don't mean to spend every episode just like talking about Xavier Chaplin.
It's not good.
But yeah. And then Isaiah World, I think, would fall into a similar boat. The tape has been less rough than Chaplin's, but he's faced way, like, he hasn't faced the level of competition Chaplin has
Mhm.
faced. And he got driven straight on his back a couple times against Penn State. I don't think
Mhm.
it was. And normally, normally when you see college fans complaining about holding, it's like just eh, people not understanding the rules that, like, a rip move kind of cancels out holding.
Mhm.
I see that a lot on Twitter, but there was a lot of complaining about World holding denied Dennis Sutton, and I think that was pretty valid this week.
Yeah. Denida Sutton had, like, 7 pressures in this game, and they were all pretty much over the left tackle.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was not a pretty outing. I agree with you there on World. I came into the season pretty high on, like, his functional athleticism. Thought his feet were a little clunky, and then he obviously the natural anchor, natural play strength, but yeah, it hasn't been great, and he's got another year of eligibility left as well, so, man, another guy who could be heading back to school unless things turn around quick here in Big Ten play.
The
Uh,
tackle class seemed really strong heading into the year, and we've kind of
mhm,
gotten maybe not worst case scenarios, but negative developments for a lot of guys.
mhm. Yep, pretty much all of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
outside of Moe Noah. I think Moe Noah has been better, like, but
Yeah.
he's, like, the one who's been better.
I would agree.
Alright, this one's, more of, like, a grading philosophy. How do you differentiate between a first-round grade versus a first-round player, and do you use a different threshold based on various positions? I don't use a threshold based off of various positions. I have the same grading scale for every position. So
So my grades are essentially where would I take where do I think appropriate value for a player is in an
mhm,
average draft class?
mhm,
Um, and it's I do it with the intention that, like, on an average year, I'll have around 30 first round grades. And I've had, 25 to 28 the first 3 years of my grading scale. And then last year, I think I had 11 or 12.
sounds about right.
And I do factor in positional value because the way I think about it is that if the order of my draft board would be the order that I would take these players if I was starting if I had an expansion draft with an empty team. This is the order that I would take
Mhm,
players. So, like, a quarterback, an offensive tackle, edge rusher, receiver, those guys are going to be higher than running backs and et cetera. So yeah, I do factor in
interesting.
positional value.
I don't, just because, like, if a running back is like, I think a running back, like, if I think Ashton Genty is one of the top 3 players in the class, like, I'm gonna have him as a 3rd. And again, that's not to say that, like, if I were a GM, I would take him 3rd overall because I probably wouldn't. But,
Right.
like, I wanna know, like, who are the best players on a even playing field? Who are the best players in the class? And that's kinda how I do mine. Um yeah, I think I had like 8 first round grades last year, 8 or 9 first round grades. It was a low number, and it's gonna probably be even lower this year, man. This is rough, so far coming into the season. But no, I don't have a threshold based on positions, and I always what I do for mine is because, like, I wanna tread that line, right, of, like, I want to be thorough and I want to be, like, very well thought out, but I also wanna make it consumable to the public, right? So, I don't wanna get, like, too into the nitty-gritty. So, like, I break down each position into 5 categories. So those 5 categories differ between position, obviously, and I score each of those 5 categories out of 10 based on, like, whatever trade it is. And the way I think about those scores out of 10 is I have set, like, average. And for me, I think an average college player is a 5th round pick. like that's average, right? If we're thinking about a bell curve, the amount of first rounders is very narrow. The amount of UDFA, well, it's not a bell curve because the amount of UDFAs is actually really large, but like
Yeah.
the majority of those guys are going to be like somewhere in that average range, which I would put it like at a 5th round. So like I look at each of those categories. So like say for quarterback, arm talent. Does this guy have average arm talent? Then I would put whatever my 5th round grade is on my grading scale. I would say, and in this case, it's I think 6.75. Then I would say 6.75 or
Yeah. Okay.
6.5.
That makes
His arm
sense.
talent is 6.5. Does this running back have the vision of a 1st round grade? 8.5, 8.75. Does this running back have a blue chip vision? 9.25. Like that's kind of how I go about grading it. And I do quarter increments, so 0.25 increments on those grades as well. So that's how I do it. That's kind of how I do it. And then each of those 5 categories aren't the same weight either. So like again, thinking about a quarterback, arm talent to me is more important on a quarterback than ability to extend outside of structure per se. Defensive back play, lower half tools are more important to me than their ability to tackle in space. So like that. So like those lower half tools and tackling don't have the same weight, don't carry the
Yeah.
same weight. So that's kind of how I think about it as well. But kind of go that direction. All right. Next position here, or next question here. Who are some players that you've completely zagged on from summer grades? From Sam Teets. So what he means by this is some players that you had like pretty lofty grades on coming into the year, and at this point you're already like, nah, we're good. And he said, please don't say Cade Klubnik because he's a Clemson graduate. But Cade Klubnik is the obvious one here. I'm going to start by saying another Clemson player here, TJ Parker for me. TJ Parker came into the season as edge 1 for me, 11th on my big board. With a low 2nd round grade. Again, we're talking low 2nd round grades for number 11 on my big board coming into the season here. But now I'm like sitting here and I wonder, is there a standout trait on TJ Parker? Like, I think he can still win through the chest pretty well, but I think he's pretty stiff. And outside of like the occasional speed to power, I'm not quite sure I see an NFL quality trait in TJ Parker right now through the first 5 games of the season.
Is he like a Isaiah Foskey?
He might be an Isaiah Foskey. I was so low on Isaiah Foskey when everybody else was like, "No,
So was I, dude.
this is a good
That's
player."
one of my wins.
What tape am I watching that I'm
Yeah.
coming in with a low 3rd round grade, early 4th round grade on this guy?
That was kind of, I feel like, no offense to anybody that loved him, but I feel like that was kind of an easy one if you watched him because there wasn't good tape.
Oh,
But yeah, I haven't completely zagged on TJ Parker, but it has been a disappointing year for sure. For sure. I would say scrolling through the list. So I saved my my preseason grades this year, so that now I can compare them. So I have a change column. So a lot of these guys are players that just are out of the lineup. Like Mekhi Hughes is just not even going to be in the class probably because he
did you
just announced
see?
that
Well, did you see
he's
he got
redshirting. Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, he would be the biggest, and it's not like I was crazy high on him, anyways. I think Isaiah World is probably one. I was actually really high on Isaiah World. He was borderline top 10 for me, and he's at 34 now. I think that Drew Aller definitely, not that I was like sold on him or anything, but I was still holding out hope, you know, and I'm kind of not really anymore.
Yeah, I would throw out one more for me is, and we've mentioned this on the podcast quite a bit, but I had Max Clare tight end 2 in an early
Yeah.
3rd round grade coming into the season, and he's not producing at Ohio State at all. And even on his targets, it's like, man, what's going on? Like, what's going on here?
Right. I shouldn't even say that one because I wasn't that
eh,
high on him, but I definitely agree. He's been a big faller.
Yeah. I got one more as well. Coming into the season, LT Overton was 14 on my board with, again, a low 2nd round grade. I've been watching that Bama defensive line, and almost across the board, I don't feel like that Bama defensive line is making any impact at all, and that's including LT Overton. Like, I don't see wins. Like, it's very rare to find a win on his tape right now. And then again, I thought LT Overton was kind of a weird prospect coming into the season where it's like, this guy has more bend than a guy his size should have, but he lacks explosiveness that you think somebody of his profile should have. And I think that lack of explosiveness is really showing up on the Bama tape this year. Because, like, again, I go through the tape and it's just like, where's the wins? Where's a win for LT Overton here? And I just haven't, and especially the Georgia game, again, in like big time matchup on big time matchup. And I thought he was invisible in that game.
Yeah, I haven't studied Bama defense too in depth over the last couple weeks, but I would agree. Mostly, with LT Overton.
Yeah, I'm staring at one more team. I might as well just throw it out. Jaden Greathouse as well, and Notre Dame just isn't getting thrown the football. And again, that could be like a lack of production because of a lack of targets. But like, I came into Jaden Greathouse with again a low second round grade, 15th on my board, saying there's a very evident lack of juice. Like, the guy is not fast. The guy has no vertical speed whatsoever. But like, I thought he was very well rounded, very refined in terms of stemming, working out at the top of routes, working off the line of scrimmage. But at some point, like, especially at the wide receiver position, like, the production rubber has to meet the road, right? And we're 5 weeks in the season, and it hasn't for Greathouse yet. And he's getting outproduced by Jordan Faison, actually. So that's probably another one I'll throw out there as well.
And I would say Nick Anderson. He had a touchdown though, right? Did he?
He did. It was like a fluky touchdown though.
Right.
Like, it was a high low, and Nussmeier threw the high, and it like got knocked it right into his hands. He was running the low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players that I maybe didn't necessarily. These aren't players that I loved, and now I'm out on them. But they're players that maybe I was interested in early day 3 potentially. But Ethan Onyanwa for Ohio State is like a rotational, like swing offensive lineman for them, right?
Yeah.
And then Sam Levitt, I think, had a nice week this past week, but probably is a 2027 guy.
Yeah, these 19-year-olds outside of Sellers, like, yeah, I feel the same way there. Awesome. All right, moving on here. All right, this is Cam again here asking for who our comps are for the top 3 QBs in the class. And again, top 3 QBs in the class is nebulous because everybody's board looks different. But I think we're pretty aligned here that our top tier is Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, Lenore Sellers, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always enjoy listening to podcasts where people have disagreements. So I was hoping we would have some disagreement.
We don't.
So for anybody who's wondering, like, oh, are they just going to agree on anything? Hopefully, I will have some disagreements. Maybe I'll fake a disagreement just to make it interesting. But no, in all seriousness, I've got Sellers, Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, and then after that, it's such a mess. I mean, Nussmeier will be somewhere between 5 to 7.
Yep. So let's go through this then. Who is your comp for Dante Moore?
So we've talked about this before. I've said like my high end comp is Dante Culpepper. Low end
Dante
is
Moore or Lenore Sellers.
Oh, did you say Sellers or Dante Moore?
I said Dante Moore.
Oh, okay. So Dante Moore, I don't know. I think he has like the arm talent of CJ Stroud kind of.
That's the name that comes to mind for me too.
Yeah. I'll go with CJ Stroud, but because he's a new grade, I hadn't like sat down and given him a comp, so he's the one that I didn't have one for. But I would probably go CJ Stroud if I had to think of one right now.
I think Stroud's the one for me too. I think Dante Moore's throwing motion is a little more whippy than Stroud. Like, Stroud's elbow kind of protrudes a little bit when he throws a football. So like, throwing motion wise, I think Moore is cleaner. But in terms of like arm talent, accuracy, decision making, functional athleticism, I think it lines up pretty well with CJ Stroud, Dak Prescott, somewhere in that range of quarterback for sure. Fernando Mendoza.
So I had I think like an accurate Trevor Lawrence.
Man, Lawrence is a really good athlete though.
That's true. I had Trevor Lawrence and Jared Goff.
Okay. The one that I hear the most that I think that I'm going to gravitate towards is Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Again, like, not exceptional athletes, but like very creative within structure, very good at problem solving, good arm, like great to plus arm talent. They won't lose you football games. I think Matt Ryan's the one that I'll go with there too. And then yeah, Sellers. You started off with Sellers there as well, and again we agree on that. So I'll let you finish that one out.
Yeah, I said like high end is Dante Culpepper. Low end I had is Anthony Richardson, but we had this conversation in a previous episode where it's like Sellers' accuracy at a certain point last week was trending in the direction to where Anthony Richardson would be an unfair comp. Then he had some misses last week. So we'll see. I'll kind of have my finger over the button this year, deciding whether I want to delete that comparison or not. But, I think that, yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. Like you feel better about Sellers than Richardson. I feel like he's proven more, even if he's still inexperienced.
Yeah, easy enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. That one's pretty self-explanatory.
What do you think for for Nussmeier, Aller, Beck? Yeah, those three.
Aller to me is like the lower half stuff plus arm talent, where it's like you want to fall for the arm talent, but everything like the accuracy stinks and the decision making stinks and the lower half stinks. Is like Will Levis was a better athlete than Drew Aller, but like to me, it's this is Will Levis all over again. Is what Aller reminds me of. Nussmeier.
I had Kyle Bowler for
Okay. Okay. Nuss. People say Tony Romo. I just don't see the Tony Romo thing, man. I don't see
I
the
said
Tony
Kirk
Romo
Cousins, but I don't love it.
I like Mac Jones.
Kirk Cousins has a better arm, I think.
Kirk Cousins does have a better arm. That's
we've
why
talked
like,
about
Mac.
I think we've talked about the Mac Jones Nussmeier. We've texted about that comparison. Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah. And then Carson Beck. Man.
Davis Mills for me.
Yeah, that's a decent one. Mills has a better arm though.
Well, I feel like he was closer to Davis Mills back like his first year starting at Georgia.
Fair.
Because at a certain point, I thought Carson Beck had like a solid NFL arm.
Yeah, I did too. Oh, man, that's a tough one. I don't have a good one for Carson Beck. Not that I can think of off the top of my head right now. I'm trying to think of like even backups who like spot started and it's like, oh yeah, that's a notable name that people would remember. And I can't think of a good one right now.
Like he's like a taller Cooper Rush.
That's interesting. I can live with that. Yeah. I don't have one. I'm really thinking, and I just can't.
Yeah,
can't come up with
that's one where
right
you
now.
just scroll through the backup quarterbacks list and just pick the one that's.
Yep, that one looks good.
Pick the one that seems the best.
Nick Mullins. I don't know. Yeah. Cool. All right, this one is from Dalton, former co-host of the Draft podcast. How big is the gap between Love and Price and the other duos in college football right now?
So how many? First, we have to define how many duos, because there are only so many duos that
That's true.
Where I like know both running backs, because there's a lot of guys where I've like watched one guy.
Yeah, let's do obviously Singleton Allen, which I think.
Yeah, I'm taking. I might take both Notre Dame running backs over both Penn State running backs.
Dude, Singleton's been a big disappointment. Big time. We could do Jaden Lamar and Deer Hill at Oregon. Deer Hill's a true freshman, though, so he's not draft eligible, but he's electric.
Well, so I mean, I don't know how to quantify like how big the gap is. I would say they're number one, and it's pretty comfortable just from.
Yeah, we can't even name another duo.
Just from looking through, because I mean,
CJ Baxter's hurt, so. And has Trey Weiser even? Trey Weiser's been hurt too, right?
He played one game at least. I think that CJ Baxter's been disappointing.
Yeah, he has.
What I've seen of him.
And he's doubtful this weekend, so I doubt he's declaring. Yeah, and Trey Wisner's played one game. So the Texas duo, who I came in high on, aren't playing. Yeah, man. So a
There's
mile and a half.
the
How big's
thing
the
is,
gap?
there's got to be like multiple running back duos that listeners of this podcast are fans of teams that like they have,
Right,
but they're not draft eligible or something, so we're not aware of them.
right. Like Ohio
Or
State's
maybe even
running
they
three
are,
running
but
backs right now, but I don't
yeah,
think any of their best one's a true freshman. So like we're not going to talk a lot about that.
yeah.
We could do Ruben Owens and Le'Veon Moss at A&M,
Okay, yeah, I like
but
Moss.
I still think the Notre Dame duo clears them by a pretty healthy margin.
Yeah,
But
I mean Notre Dame duo might be two of the top three because, and so I mean I kind of agree with you. I think Jordan out of USC
he's good. He's
is going to
nice.
be like in that top three mix. Um,
Mhm.
Justice Haynes probably top five,
Jonah Coleman's up there too. Slim
and I
down
love
Jonah
Jonah
Coleman.
Coleman. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but Jadarian Price has been hella good this year. So,
definitely.
all right, last one here, and we'll get on out of here. This is from Oz, who is in our Daft on Draft College Football Dynasty League as well. Very, very awesome college football fan. Very funny person to follow along with as well. Huge Iowa fan, so make fun of him when you have a chance. Do you think that watching players through a scouting lens causes you to depreciate college players who are helping their team win versus strictly looking at them as NFL players?
So I think what I would say is it's all about being clear about what the
Evaluating.
analysis that you're doing is. Like I feel like we're pretty clear that we're doing draft analysis.
Yeah.
So when we say, "Oh, I don't, like this player," I don't think they project as a good NFL player. I mean, there are plenty of, and we had this exact conversation because like I was, I'm an Indiana fan, and I was talking about Indiana's roster and how, um, and it's the reason why there's no conflict of me being biased about like a college football team, because you can be a great college football team and have a bunch of like 6th and 7th round draft picks. Like think back to Michigan's offensive line from the national championship where they
Yeah.
won the Joe Moore Award, and it's like Trevor Keegan and
Zach Zinter.
Zach. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's a bunch of like with all due respect, mid NFL players, and they're dominant in college, and so it's that dynamic exists all the time where I mean, I watch so many players where I'm like, man, this guy's a great, um, college player. I can see that for whoever, Marshall's defense, he's, making a great impact or whatever. And like, whether or not it translates to the NFL is a completely different question. And so I think that just as a college football fan, you should just kind of
Mhm.
be aware going into it, like what people are saying, and like, that you can still be a great college football team, and it doesn't have to translate to the NFL.
Yeah, I think a great example of this right now is Katron Allen at Penn State.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
Penn State fought back in that game down the stretch mainly because they just kept giving the ball to Katron Allen, and Oregon could not tackle him. Katron Allen's going to run a 4.7 and might not get drafted.
right,
But, like, he is kind of the cog in Penn State's offense right now. He's the lead man in that Penn State offense right now. I think that's a great example. I think I go back to like the
should
late
we
2010s, early 2000s, like Clemson, the stereotypical Clemson cowboy collar linebacker. Like there was like James Stulsky and those guys. There was always one of those
right,
guys. It's
yeah,
like they're clearly playing a very important role for these powerhouse Clemson teams, but that guy's not going to play in the
the
NFL.
Clemson like nepo baby overhang defender that was like the
Yeah,
defensive coordinator's like son
yeah.
or something.
Venables' son.
Yeah,
Yeah. So like those are the kind of guys I think about, and we could talk about quarterbacks this year. Like Sawyer Robertson's going to get drafted, so like I don't know if he's a great one, but like he's not going to be a first round pick. I don't know if he's going to be a day 2 pick because I don't see the arm talent at all. But like he is leading that Baylor offense extremely well. Joey Aguilar at Tennessee, another guy who he's not going to come out. Diego Pavia is probably if the season ended today, Diego Pavia is probably a Heisman finalist.
right.
Like that's a hella fun college quarterback. Trinidad Chambliss, what he's doing at Ole Miss right now. So like there is definitely room to appreciate both. But like, yeah, like I posted, like, here's how I kind of view the quarterback class if the season ended today on Twitter. And everybody's like, oh, Julian's saying, where's Julian saying? I was like, he's a redshirt freshman. He's not draft eligible. Like
so the oh god, who's the Iowa linebacker from last year?
Jay Higgins.
Jay Higgins. So that's the first guy that I thought of, and it's funny that the person is asked the question as an Iowa fan, because I mean, this dude, I think he led the FBS in tackles. It was like over the span of 3 years, he had like 30 more tackles than anybody else in college football. And was just, I mean, he was a great college player and would probably start for every single college team. But then you project him to the NFL, and he doesn't have the sideline speed, the measurables, so it's not, didn't have a high grade. But in terms of, if you were going to re-rank the recruiting class, he would be like a 5-star impact, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Kate Hauser, ECU. It's another quarterback. Hella fun college quarterback. Who knows what's going to hold next year for the NFL? But all right, that was a good round of questions. I enjoyed that.
It was
awesome. Tomorrow we will go over the week 6 slate, and we will again fit in our emerging players, guys that we've identified as emerging players throughout that slate as we're going through, and talk about that as well. But that's going to do it. And James, unless you have anything else to add to the people here.
I don't think I do.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. See ya.